Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to BSV TV. I'm your host Satoshi, and on this show we'll be defending the one and only, truly genuine Bitcoin. The Bitcoin that Satoshi Nakamoto designed in his white paper as a peer-to-peer electronic cash system for the world. Let's get the disclaimers out of the way. So all the statements that you hear on this show are opinion and must only ever be taken as opinion. They are never to be taken as any form of advice, family, financial, sexual or otherwise. And on that note, let's sit back, relax, have some fun and enjoy the show. Get paid for your content in Bitcoin and set your own fee on Streamanity.
Yeah, I'm not surprised I wasn't asked why I'm convinced Craig is Satoshi. I posted on Reddit. He signed in my presence using the private key from block number one, the very first mined Bitcoin block on a computer that I'm convinced had not been tampered with, on software I'm convinced that had not been tampered with, a message of my choosing.
At InChain, we've just funded a number of universities doing so far a test up to 1 gigabyte because it validates what we've already done independently. We've tested up to 380 gigabyte blocks. We've tested 1 million transactions a second and transaction sizes up to 20 megabytes. Super complex scripts, basically ones that can run operating systems. That's all of global commerce times about 50. On top of that, we can have complex scripts. On top of that, we can scale each of those transactions 1,000 times, which effectively means about 1 billion transactions per second, which means we can then have all derivatives, all complex trades. That means high frequency trading. It means everything that happens globally.
Is the market that effectively BSV is going for, is that global e-commerce, which is currently valued at $29 trillion?
No, that's too small.
Buy and sell Bitcoin instantly at bsvgravity.com. And you can now book and pay for your winter holiday at skibsv.com. Good afternoon, everybody. It looks like we are live at 5. Just let me do some quick maintenance on the site. There we go. That's what I wanted. Love it when a plan comes together. Right, how are we doing? I think we're all in the green. Kilobytes per second looking good. Yeah, we are live, rocking and rolling. Right, welcome. I know we've got a newcomer listening to the show today, so I'm going to try and do my best to keep it simple and explain everything. So if you're wondering why we broadcast on Twitch, it's because YouTube have already taken down 2 of my channels. They were then preventing me from editing my show, and they were then deleting episodes. And I was like, you know what? This is absolutely insane. So now we broadcast live on Twitch TV every day, live at 5 from whereverabouts in the world that I am. And we go live on Twitch, upload the trailer onto YouTube, and then upload the full episode onto Streamanity, where you can set your own fee according to how you judge the quality of your content. It's the future. Pay-per-view, getting paid for your content. That's how Bitcoin is going to work. So, I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm loving this Maxthon browser. Fits my screen absolutely beautifully. I'm telling you, it's fate, it's coming. Right, so for any newbies who are watching this for the first time, this chart here explains Bitcoin. Now, let me explain why Bitcoin was created and why it is so important. So, the best way to explain and show you and prove to you why it's so important is this picture here, which I'm sure we've all seen. Now, this was an executive order of the President of the United States, where they ordered that all persons to be required to deliver on or before May 1st, 1933, all gold coin, gold bullion, and gold certificates now owned by them at a Federal Reserve Bank, branch or agency, or to any member of a bank or Federal Reserve System. And if you didn't do that, the criminal penalties for violation of the executive order were a $10,000 fine, and remember this was back in 1933, or 10 years imprisonment, or both, as provided in Section 9 by the order. Like, can you imagine the government trying to confiscate your money off of you now? Well, don't be thinking that that's too ridiculous, because they can take your liberties away. Look at us all here on lockdown. Can't be having parties. Oh, no, 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 no. Can't be having more than 50 viewers listening to Satoshi talking the truth about Bitcoin. You know, don't mind all these other shitcoiners out there like BTC and Bcrash and Ethereum and all these other like ERC20 tokens. But when it comes to somebody telling the truth about the genuine Bitcoin, shut that man down. Absolutely ridiculous. But this is it. So the reason the Federal Reserve, and remember the Federal Reserve is a private entity. Like a private company owns the Federal Reserve. And it's almost like a conglomerate between all the world's national banks. It's absolutely insane. So the people don't have a say in what they do. The government doesn't even have a say in what they do. In fact, these guys pull the purse strings of the government. And in fact, if they don't like the president, for example, of the United States, you don't think they've got enough resources to pay to have somebody else put in there? They can pay the media off. They can pay the voting system off. They can pay the police off. They can pay the army off. They have unlimited funds. They can do whatever they like. And as Nathan Rothschild once said, in fact, let's find that quote while we're on the case. Let's go and find this. Max on browser, nice one. Nathan Rothschild's money. Let's see what this brings up. Images. All about. Oh, here it is. Absolute classic. Let's see if we can enlarge this one. Hopefully that'll do well for us. What's this? The evolution of money. Phantom menace of the Rothschilds banking. Do they have the picture here? Come on. Oh, they've got it for us. Beauty. Here we go. The quote by Nathan Rothschild. I care not what puppet is placed upon the throne of England to rule the empire on which the sun never sets. The man who controls Britain's money supply controls the British Empire, and I control the British money supply. Nathan Rothschild. I mean, literally, you just join the dots. It's absolutely insane. So they were talking about money supply back then, but obviously back in those days, well, it was Isaac Newton who first attached, the gold standard back in 1639, to money. But fiat currency that we are currently using, which is why, again, Bitcoin is so important, as Voltaire said very wisely, paper money eventually returns to its intrinsic value, which is zero. And that's because paper money just simply gets inflated. They print more and more and more. And it's only human nature to get greedy. So if you put a private organization in control of a bank, what do you think they're going to do? And they have carte blanche. They can do whatever they want. Of course they're going to print as much money as they want. And then they're going to try and exert as much power as they can so that nobody can ever tell them to stop printing all the money that they want. That's how the game is played. So if you want to print as much money as you can, you need to find an excuse to print as much money as you can. And that excuse comes in the form of trouble. All you need to do is cause some shit somewhere, and then, of course, you need money to throw at the problem to fix it. So what do? You create the problem yourself. This is why they create wars. And the best excuse for a war in the early days was like, where are these commies? Where are these commies? There are a bunch of commies over in Vietnam. Perfect. They're just on the other side of the world, like minding their own business, really poor, won't have a chance against us. Let's go and bomb the shit out of them because we've pumped all this money into the military. They've stockpiled all these weapons and we need to go drop them on somewhere so we can print some more. Let's get rid of that stockpile. There we go. And then they did the same in Guatemala. Honestly. And then they've done the same with... if you've seen the latest, crack cocaine episode on Netflix, they were basically militarizing the police. Then when after they militarized all the police, they then had to spend all these millions on prisons, on housing all these minority prisoners, up to 2 million of them. It's all about money. It's all about printing money, and that is it. That is why it is so important that we do not have a centralized power in control of our money supply. And then along comes Bitcoin. This is what Bitcoin is all about. Now, of course, if you've got access to the world's reserve currency and you can print whatever you like, and you see Bitcoin coming along, you're not going to want Bitcoin to succeed. So what are you going to do? Well, let me tell you, the key to Bitcoin's neutrality is one, its distributed network, but also its signatures. It's the chain of signatures that hold all the users of the network and the devs to account. So if you get a group of developers who want to get Bitcoin under their control, the first thing they're going to do is tamper with the signatures. Try and destroy those signatures, hide those signatures, invalidate those signatures. And funnily enough, this is what a company called Blockstream did. And they were funded by multinational institutions who have got suspiciously close links to the Federal Reserve. Funded to the tune of $100 million. And what were they telling people? Don't use it. Don't scale it. But we'll still make more room in the block because, we still need to make the odd transaction. But in order to make more room in the block, what we're going to do is segregate the signatures. Really? So segregating the signatures is literally like signing a contract on the bottom and then ripping the signatures off and telling people, don't worry, we'll store the contract in that filing cabinet and we'll store the signature strips in that filing cabinet. But don't worry, the filing cabinets are in the same room. It's ridiculous. That contract is null and void when there are no signatures on it. And that is why after the 1st of August, which is when the first chain split on 2017, 24 days later, Blockstream had implemented SegWit on BTC and crashed its fundamental value to zero. Because money that has a central point of authority or control is absolutely fundamentally worthless and effectively becomes a fiat currency, which is why the price of BTC is a massive speculative bubble. But let me tell you, when knowledge catches up with speculation, that speculative price will soon match its fundamental value at zero. But shitcoiners wouldn't understand this. But if they don't believe me, and I've had loads of people tell me that I'm talking shit, let's have a listen to what Samson Mow said in an interview with Simon Dictwit and Max Kaiser when they were talking about BTC. Have a listen to this.
Bitcoin was created by the central bankers that enslave you today. It is their scapegoat.
How do you answer those, Max and Stacey?
I think the evidence is clear that they do not control it. There's 10 years, almost 11 years now of track record.
Yeah, Blockstream controls it.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Who does?
Blockstream.
Oh, all right. I was looking at you when I said that. Yeah, I'm a block. I have a spy. I'm one of the spies. No, so this, it's an interesting. Now that there's.
It certainly is interesting now that there's a Max. I honestly are absolutely ridiculous. So let's talk about the latest billionaire who has invested in BTC, thinking that it's Bitcoin. Because he has done his homework on Bitcoin and he loves Bitcoin. In fact, he loves Bitcoin so much, he has declared his love for it. So let's just have a listen to what Michael Saylor says about Bitcoin before SegWit was implemented. Here we go.
I like Bitcoin the way it is. In fact, I love Bitcoin the way it is. And the way it's currently constructed, it is possible to put all $250 trillion of monetary energy in big blocks of encrypted energy on the blockchain. Maybe the Bitcoin will be $1 million. You can probably calculate $10 million of Bitcoin or something. Big blocks, $100 million chunks on the blockchain. It'll store all the monetary energy in the world, and it should store it for the next 100 years without losing any of it. If Bitcoin's going to fail, It's not going to fail due to lack of functionality or lack of speed or lack of scalability. In my opinion, if Bitcoin is going to fail, it's going to fail because of it loses trust and security. We have to protect the network integrity at all cost.
And that network integrity happens to be the signatures, Michael. And you have no idea what's been done. I've reached out to you. I've tried to get you to listen to my show. Will you listen to me? No. You're gonna have to learn the hard way, sunshine. Sorry. And like Satoshi Nakamoto said, if you don't believe me or don't get it, I've not got time to convince you. Sorry. So then Bitcoin just simply had to carry on. And then another group of douchebags thought they would tamper with the signatures and add schnorr signatures, which means the transaction can be hidden, which makes it non-regulatory compliant, which means that global trade and international commerce will never use it. And if you don't believe me that they've made it non-regulatory compliant, which means it's illegal, have a listen to what Roger Ver said in his interview. Here we go.
I have a question here from Satoshi, defender of Bitcoin. He said, if a cryptocurrency is anonymous, like BCH, I don't think BCH is anonymous, but maybe there is something.
Check out cashfusion.com and you combine that with reusable payment codes and you get Bitcoin Cash in the same sort of ballpark of privacy as Monero. It's really awesome. So you can check out Cashfusion. And I always get it wrong. I think it's .com, but it might be .org. So you can check both. Cashfusion.com.
Okay, awesome. So BCH, maybe using Cash Fusion and XMR, if they're anonymous, how can a business get legal recourse against a supplier if the supplier defaults and no proof on the transaction exists because anon?
Yeah, if you want your cryptocurrency to be perfectly legal for everything all the time, just go use your Visa card. Just go use your PayPal, right? What do you need a cryptocurrency for? You can do all of it with a centralized, fully legal and fully compliant payment platform, right? So go use PayPal. I think you've missed the entire point. The entire point of cryptocurrencies is that by technological design, they are beyond the reach of the law. They're above the law. That's why, imagine if Bitcoin could have been shut down by governments, they probably would have shut it down from right out of the gate. And it's the fact that Bitcoin can't be shut down. We should ask the BSVers this: if they pass a law saying BSV needs to shut down their blockchain, are they going to obey and shut down their BSV blockchain? I hope the answer would be no. Which is just a lot of the stuff I see from some of these BSVers are silly. But then there's other BSV fans that, I'm very, very sympathetic to their way of thinking. But the ones that say that the blockchains all need to be legally compliant about everything all the time, just go use your Visa card.
Thanks, Roger. I will, because I wouldn't touch BCH with a barge pole. I mean, can you imagine actually saying, "Oh yeah, so the whole point of cryptocurrencies is that they're above the law, they're untouchable by the law." I mean, what the hell does he think this is? If it's doing something illegal, like for example, facilitating human trafficking, child abuse imagery, human organ donations on the black market, arms dealing, smuggling, all that kind of crap. We don't want it. Bitcoin is money. It's like, what do you do cryptocurrency for? If you're not going to do any illegal shit. It's money, Roger. That's what it is. It needs regulatory compliance behind it so that those who use money as a medium of exchange to conduct trade have legal recourse if the supplier runs off with their money. So, in order for you to get legal recourse, 1, you need to prove that you've sent the value over that represents the good or service. So in other words, if you're sending gold over to somebody, that gold represents the value of the good or service that you want from them. You can't just simply send a leaf or a stick, because that doesn't represent the value of the good or service that you're wanting from them. So first of all, it's the value. And then secondly, you have to prove that the transactions exist, which you cannot do if you can't prove the transaction was there, because it's hidden in chain. It's hidden, or the transaction has been deleted. It's absolutely ridiculous. It has got no fundamental value whatsoever. And if you wonder why I call it B-Crash, because it's an absolute load of shit, that's because Roger calls it B-Crash himself. Have a listen.
And we're going to really spread Bitcoin Crash across the entire country here in Antigua.
Good luck with that, Roger. Dear oh dear. Honestly, we're dealing with a bunch of schoolboys here, honestly, you know. And talking about schoolboys and people being stupid, let's just have a quick look at this coin crap chart. I was showing this to somebody earlier today. So a security has its value secured by the single central entity that issued it. It is a claim on something. Like a security is an equity, like a bond or something like that. You know, a share in a company. It gives you rights, voting rights within that company. It gives you rights to the dividend of that company. However, if that company was to fail or to like go bankrupt or disappear, that security becomes absolutely fundamentally worthless. That's why they're called shitcoins, because they're all securities, because they are entirely dependent on the single centralized party that issued them. This is the solving of the paradox of the centralized starting point that Satoshi Nakamoto solved with Bitcoin, that cannot be solved overnight. It has taken 11 years worth of dilution and distribution of that centralized starting point so that it becomes truly decentralized. And then you need proof of work, which is competition between all those who economically sustain the network. Because if there is no competition, there is collusion. And when you get collusion, you get a centralized entity. Can you imagine America or China ever using a money that was controlled by a centralized group of people? Never gonna happen. They may as well just simply create their own currency, and then we're back to zero. So the only commodities on this list are Litecoin, which pains me because Litecoin was the biggest exit scam in history. And if you're wondering how much respect Charlie Lee has got for his own creation, let's have a listen to what he said in his interview. Here we go.
You created Litecoin, right? So this has to be something like you're incredibly passionate about.
Yeah, as most of you probably know, I kind of created it just for fun, right? I didn't really expect it to become anything.
No, I didn't know that, Charlie, but it would have been nice of you to tell me that before people got all excited about it and started buying it and giving it a market cap of nearly, what, $9 billion? Like, absolutely ridiculous. So let's have a listen now to what Satoshi Nakamoto says about his creation with money and power. And remember, it's the neutrality which gives money its fundamental value. Have a listen.
This is what it all comes down to. See, what people don't understand is Bitcoin with a stable protocol takes away power. If no one can change the protocol, not me, not God, there's no power in money. Money is all about power. And this is one of the things Bitcoin has done. It has removed that power. It will remove that power globally.
There we go. It will remove that power globally. Now, I've just thought, actually, let's have a little contrast between Charlie Lee, the creator of Litecoin, and Satoshi Nakamoto and their expectations of their creations. So one more time with Charlie Lee. Here we go.
You created Litecoin, right? So this has to be something like you're incredibly passionate about.
Yeah, as most of you probably know, I kind of created it just for fun, right? I didn't really expect it to become anything.
Thanks for that, Charlie. Now let's have a listen to what Satoshi Nakamoto says about his creation. Here we go.
At the end of the day, we own a lot of Bitcoin. The simple thing is, if we make the network scale, if we make it bigger, my main compensation, more than anything anyone could ever pay me, is the price of Bitcoin goes up. So that's my pure drive. I want Bitcoin not to go up to 10,000 or 100,000. I want it to be worth millions per Bitcoin. That's it. And that's what we spend money for. Very simple.
It doesn't sound like he didn't expect it to become anything. Like, what an absolute joke. What an absolute joke. So anyway, let's crack on with these figures. I haven't seen these yet. Got a few videos that I want to go through in a minute. So let's just crack on with these. So again, I'm not really bothered about these shitcoins over here, so I'm not gonna bother with them. But we have got Bitcoin with 0.7% of the hash rate, network nodes 21%, transactions 37.6. Oh yes, ahead of Coolcoin. Thank God. Block size, Coolcoin just winning. So we've got 32.5. Let's just play spot the biggest block on Bcrush for lulz. Whoa, look at this. They've actually got 4.4 megabyte block. That's massive for Bcrush. I think that's the biggest block I've ever seen them mine. Anybody shouting about a world record block on them? Still got a long way to go to touch 369 megabytes. Hathor still on there mining these empty blocks. Absolutely hilarious. Look, Hathor, empty block. Oh no, mining a few blocks. It's 403 kilobytes in that one. 257 there. But then we move across to Coolcoin BTC, and they've got purposely given themselves a 1 megabyte block size restriction. So it's not going anywhere. And let's have a look at Bitcoin. Don't tell me Bcrush has got a bigger block than us. No, never. Oh, look at that. They've got single figure megabyte blocks there. Oh well. Let's have a look in more detail. See if there's got to be a bigger block than 4.4 megabytes on Bcrush. Even if we do have to go further back. Well, we know there's a bigger block, but let's just see it. Here we go. Oh, there we go. 7.4. Didn't take long. 7.4 megabytes mined by Huobi an hour ago. There we go. See what else there is. Come on, let's have a double digit block. Oh, I have to go down. Oh, no double digit blocks. Never mind. Transaction banking. That's what we'll put it down to. So we've got hash rate again. So hash rate follows price, which follows value, which follows utility. Because when it has utility, it can then have a value. When it has a value, it can develop a price. When it develops a price, it can then be measured against the cost of other goods and services. And that's the whole point of Bitcoin. Proof of work by network again. Coolcoin and Bcrush will just stop one day. Bcrush versus Bitcoin hash rate. Bcrush versus Bitcoin proof of work. It is 4,260 times cheaper to transact on Bitcoin than it is Coolcoin, because Coolcoin's an absolute piece of shit. It's currently 2.5% more profitable to mine on SV. Oh, interesting. Must be competition on Coolcoin then. Daily average Bitcoin block size by network. Oh, Coolcoin just winning. Transactions, daily Bitcoin transactions by network. Oh, that's a close one. Yeah, I think we just pipped them to that one. Daily average Bitcoin transactions per block. Again, Coolcoin I think might just be winning on that one. Daily average Bitcoin fees. Look at that. Bitcoin smashing it. Fees Satoshis, Bitcoin smashing it. Block reward ratio again comes in time, which follows price, which follows value, which follows utility. Oh, let's carry on down here. Almost at the exciting bit. So blockchain growth by network, just laughing at Bcrush there, absolutely hilarious. So global hash rate 7 days, like it was yesterday. Yeah, Binance pushing BTC.com down into 4th. Global hash rate 24 hours. Look at this. Via BTC and Binance. Get your tweet etched on Twitch, forever on the Bitcoin blockchain. Do it today at www.jointwitch.com. BuyBSV.live, the best place to buy Bitcoin SV online. Get paid for your content in Bitcoin and watch the full episode on Streamanity for just 20 cents. Go to www.satoshi.tv. See the link in the description below. Bitcoin, one world, one chain.
One vision.